No, I'm joking.
Yes, we're not recording this.
All right, so hi everyone. My name is Artie, and my pronouns are Z, they, them. I'm going to be talking today about filming the cops and the legality around it and your rights as a person to film. Just to start off, I want to say this is not legal advice. So if you have a specific situation or something that you want detailed consideration over, I'd say go consult a lawyer. I will also be simcomming, which is signing and talking, so if things feel a little broken, it's because I'm trying to talk in two languages at the same time. So why? A big thing with filming is evidence. To make sure that city workers, cops are held accountable. On top of that, it could be used for campaigns and engagement from people who might not know about the issue at hand or about the sweeps or anything like that. Specifically, white people should be using their privilege as a place of power against the cops. A big thing cops try to do is control a situation, so taking that from them is really important. And white people are the ones who can get away with it more often than others. So it's important to use that to your advantage. Conduct. It's not a time to make a statement. You're not there to make a bigger issue. You're not there for that. You're there to record for a reason. Also, in that same vein, narration is important too. If you're sitting there saying, "Oh, that dumb cop doesn't know what they're doing, this stupid fucking idiot," they're gonna sit there and get mad. Which, at that point, you're making the situation even harder for that person. So it's like, why even go record? You're just aggravating things. You want to act with the houseless neighbors and other mutual aid helpers the same you would with protesters. You would not want to record their face or anything like that, and only really record them if you need to. Also, you need to follow police orders as long as they're lawful. They can't stop you from filming, but they can set a perimeter, establish rules and so on, like you can't enter this area and all that. They have reasonable ability to do it.
There's three? When? And you want to split these gummies?
Approaching the situation is also important. With a sweep, it's harder now because they have the fencing up. So you really can only just stand at the fence unless you find a way to get in. But for other situations, how you approach is really important. There are two real options that I recommend. The first is having your camera hang on your neck and just sit. If it's still on, it'll be still recording audio, which is important. Video can still capture things that you might not notice, and then when you're closer, you can catch details, which may be able to catch someone doing something they're not supposed to be doing. The other option I really see and notice is having it raised and noticeable, because then it's showing that person who you're recording that there's a person there watching and holding them accountable, which is really important too. Really, when you approach it, that's the time to decide your goals and what you're trying to do by recording the situation. A really important note is that you cannot hide your camera. If you hide your camera, that is illegal, and if you try to use that footage, it will be used as evidence against you. Colorado has a wiretapping law where you can't conceal any cameras or anything like that when recording, or that's considered. It was originated for keeping toms, but can be extended as cops need. I mean, we all know cops. They'll find a way. Also, in that same vein, you want to back up your footage. If it does come up that was a legal thing that you're going to be called on for later, that's evidence that you have. So if you're in the wrong situation, it can become tampering with evidence because you destroyed evidence that they then needed. The last kind of important note is that cops will be looking for catch-alls if they find you annoying or in the way, because they don't want you there. Going back to that whole control thing, they're taught that control is the only thing they need. And then it's just anyone coming in is using that, and you don't want that. They're going to be looking for things like impeding an investigation, stuff like that, where they can just find a way and just get you out of the way, even if it's just for the moment.
I'll find out.
And then finally, like the legalese of it all, the First Amendment protects your right to go and be in public and film. The Fourth Amendment protects your right for your personal property. So like the video is considered your personal property, so they can't seize it without a warrant, which is really important. The one kind of caveat to that is that if they feel like there may be investigation changing evidence there, they can. That is really vague. In the moment, if you're filming and being annoying, who knows what they will say. And while we're talking about amendments, the only other thing that could stop the First Amendment from being applicable is that if you're on private property, the owner can say get off, or don't film, or whatever. And if you're still there and they say get off, they can call the cops and say, oh, they're trespassing. And that is you will be arrested. Like, you are on private property. In Colorado specifically, Colorado has a law where if a cop knowingly destroys any footage, pictures, anything like that, tries to intimidate, interfere, retaliate, or just be aggressive for recording, you have grounds for a lawsuit against the police department because of that. There are specific like standards you need to meet, but if you have proof, I believe you can still. Then you need to reach out to like the ACLU or a personal lawyer or something like that. And the last little bit I have is just advice from a comrade who reports a lot. Your camera is really a tool. It's really important, everything you get on it, even if you don't think it's like a necessity right now, it can still be used later. Having it is always better than not, because it's like that old saying, need it and not, or have it and not need it, instead of need it and not have it. That was hard to do both at the same time. Wow. It also, like I said earlier, it makes city workers and cops self-conscious of their job, which is really important. That's when you catch them like messing up, being like overly aggressive for no reason, nothing like that. It shows them also that people are watching and like seeing that this is happening and showing their disapproval. You should know, this is more applicable for like protesting, but you should know your exit routes. So like if there's a curb, if there's rocks, stuff like that. A comment they mentioned was that sprained ankles are the most overlooked injury because you never expect it coming, because of little things like rock in the wrong place. And then last, it's important to know your rights and to not like back down if challenged, because you have the right to film, to record, and you know, you should be doing so if you feel safe enough to. Does anyone have any questions?
Anyone have any questions about reporting the police?
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Artie.
I know. That was like,
You're not being just weird, is it?
good job. Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Wow, you're so cute. Damn, you should totally get a ride home from me later. And, you know?